I wanted to write a book about a small town. And Milltown to me sounded like the right name that would encapsulate most small towns in Ontario. Um, there's been books written by Richard Russo about Empire Falls in the United States, or Winesburg, Ohio by Sherwood Anderson. So why not Milltown by me? It's a book I could continue to write on. I could continue to develop the characters in other books, sequels and uh, follow-up books to come. So that's why I picked the name. I like the name. I didn't want to have a name that was a real name of a town. That would lead to too many complications. Well, all of these things do happen in small towns, but they tend to happen sequentially, not all at the same time. And so because they happen sequentially, they become everyday events and people don't pay attention to them. What I wanted to do was to take all of these events and put them into one big tsunami that hits this town, and that will create focus and get the reader's attention. So yes, do they happen? They do. Do they all happen at once? Probably not. And that's why this is a work of fiction. When I wrote this book, I had just moved to Coburg, my small town, and I was not sure that I had captured the characters and the situations correctly. I was worried that I would infuriate people by, doing the wrong thing or saying the wrong thing. And this is typical of beginning writers when they tend to veer towards being politically correct. I don't care anymore. And I've been here 10 years. And I have, I think, earned the right to write about where I live. So I've taken the book back, and I have had many passes at it, correcting and rewriting the pieces that didn't quite fit. And I think now the book is quite a fair representation of a small town in Ontario. Writers are supposed to show, not tell. When you tell, you prescribe. When you show, you just show the situation as it is. Now, to the extent that the showing can be dramatic and fairly focused, you might argue that the writer is actually telling, prescribing a way to do certain things. I attempted to show all of the ills that are going on in this small town, and also end on a note of hope so that I could give the characters a way out of their hopeless situation. Whether that makes it a morality tale, I hope not, but it's again for the reader to decide, not for me. I've written my share of immigrant novels, I think 4 or 5 of them, and I am now starting to move into the mainstream, writing mainstream Canadian stories. This book, you could argue, is a bridge between what I used to write and what I'm now writing. I wrote this 10 years ago, so it was a bridge at the time. There is a Sri Lankan immigrant in this book who is also moving out of his ghetto into mainstream Canadian society. And you might argue that's a metaphor for me with this book, moving out of what I used to write into what I'm supposed to write. So this is the kind of coming out novel for me, I guess, from those immigrant stories to mainstream Canadian stories. Well, I'm always writing because, if you don't exercise the writing muscle, it atrophies. I have, for instance, a historical trilogy set during the French Revolution era that is waiting in the wings. I have another book set during the RoboCop scandal in Canada in the wings. I have a new collection of short stories, weird short stories. They get weirder every time I write them. And I'm working on a new one, which is the first time I've tried humor, dark humor, in the first person. I found the first person viewpoint normally quite limiting because you're in a very narrow frame. But I think I can carry this one through to the end, so I'm working with that. And who knows what else will come next. I feel that, I may not live to have all these books published, but that does not stop me from writing them. and perhaps I'll leave it for my family to figure out what they want to do with it after I'm gone.